What's up, Sports Wars? We are here with Will from Game On Show podcast, and we are here to preview NFL Divisional Round Weekend. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing great. How you doing, bud?
Pretty good. I'm excited for these games, and I actually know what day of the week it is. It's Friday, and we don't have football today, but we have football tomorrow and football on Sunday. And that's a little joke from your show when I can't get the
Yes.
damn days right. We wake up super early Friday morning to do your show, and I'm like, yeah, we got football today. And it turns out that we do not. We had to wait till Saturday. But we have two very good, exciting games on Saturday, and I think Sunday, the Sunday lineup, is probably even better. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at these games and take a look at the odds and everything. If we can pull up those, if you want to pull up the spreads on these games. So Saturday, Texans at Ravens and Packers at Niners. I guess we can start with Texans and Ravens, and this is almost like deja vu because we just talked about this morning. But Ravens, 9.5-point favorites at home. The weather for this game, it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold. 21 degrees probably at game time, and it's going to be windy. 13-mile-per-hour winds they're predicting. How do you feel about this game, man?
You know, the Ravens are a huge favorite, and I mean, a 9.5-point favorite is a huge favorite at this stage of the playoffs, right? They're a huge favorite for a reason. There's so many stats and trends going against the Texans here, and I get it. I mean, one of the biggest trends here is like, you'll see some smart from the sports betting sides of things. You'll see some sharp bettors just taking the Ravens because you've got a dome Texas team going out in the cold. And statistically, they're right. If you look back in the history of the NFL playoffs, these dome teams don't do well. Actually, Florida teams, teams that just play in hot weather, actually do better than teams that play in domes.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those weird things. But I mean, the Ravens are a 1 seed for a reason. The Ravens are rested. They've got the MVP of the league probably in Lamar at their quarterback. He's got a lot to prove these playoffs.
He does.
I think there's something. Man, I think there's something special about this Texans team. Usually, you don't want to back a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. There's never been a rookie quarterback that's ever won the Super Bowl. So, that just tells you. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. But I would argue you got DeMeco Ryans, who's been at the top levels of the NFL. I mean, with being on San Francisco, he's been in big games. You have CJ Stroud, who's played in big games, in college, right? Yep. He's played in the college football playoffs, right? And he lit up that Georgia defense when he did it. Yeah, they lost, but he looked great. So I just think there's something special about this Texans teams. I wish they were at full strength. I wish they didn't lose some of their guys along the way this season, but what we've seen is as long as they have CJ Stroud back there, they've got a chance. And I think you can't count this Texans team out in this one.
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, the Ravens are a well-oiled machine. They are well put together, well coached. John Harbaugh, I mean, he's playing chess when it seems like other coaches are playing checkers. But this Texans team, man, CJ Stroud, when you have CJ Stroud back there, you can never count them out. And DeMeco Ryans, he's proved himself this year, just, really, he fires this Texans team up. And it seems like they've just gotten better as the season goes on. I think that the Texans stay in this game. This 9.5-point favorite for the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Texans to cover. I'm going to take the points with the Texans, I think, because like we said this morning, I think this could come down to a Justin Tucker field goal to take the lead, and then you're going to have CJ Stroud have to, put the team on his back and run a 2-minute drill to potentially win the game. I think this is how this game could go. But also, I could be completely wrong, and the Texans, after blowing out the Browns last weekend, they could have a major setback. I know we talked about this morning. You're not supposed to look at the week before. But I like the Texans, man. I like the Texans to keep it close. I'm not gonna pick the Texans to win outright, but I think this is going to be a closer game than we think.
I think it's very interesting from this standpoint. There's a lot of trends with these bye teams. These bye teams, they come out and their defense actually plays really well, but the offense, after having a couple weeks off, is a little rusty.
Yeah.
And then So that's not looking good for the Ravens in the first half. But the Ravens in the first half, all they do is win the first half. Like I think there's twice this season they haven't won the first half in any of their games. And you got a Texans team here that comes out in the first half and they just lay an egg. They're a second quarter and a second half team. That first quarter they are terrible. I don't know why it is, but then they get the ball rolling. I actually think that we're going to see kind of a ugly first half, and then it's just going to be fireworks in the second half. It's going to be a completely different game. It's going to be fun. I don't know, man. I kind of get worried about the cold. Like we said, it's supposed to be like 22 degrees out there, about 13 mile per hour winds. That could play a factor. But I mean, these guys are professionals, right? And this is the NFL playoffs. This is where you step up. And honestly, the lights haven't been too bright for CJ Stroud. He has shown that he can step up in these spots when it matters. And Lamar, on the other hand, he actually hasn't. He's 1-3 in the playoffs. And would you be surprised to find out that Lamar has not thrown at over one touchdown pass in a playoff game?
Wow.
He's never had a 2 passing touchdown game. He's ran some in, right? But he hasn't had 2 or more passing touchdowns in a playoff game. So, I mean, if this game's tight in the fourth quarter, you could look at Lamar. They have all the pressure on them. Texans have nothing to lose. They're just playing with house money at this point. So if it's close in the fourth quarter, I would like the Texans to end up pulling the upset off here. But I mean, obviously, Ravens are a 9.5 point favorite for a reason. They're probably going to win this game.
Yeah, I think the Texans' odds of going into Baltimore and beating the Ravens, I think it 100% relies on CJ Stroud. How well CJ Stroud plays is going to keep the Texans in this game. For sure. Moving on to Green Bay at San Francisco. Man, these two teams seem to always meet up in the playoffs in the past few years, and it has always went the 49ers way. Shanahan seems to just have the Packers number, but this is a different Packers team. This is with Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers is out, and Jordan Love, towards the end of the regular season and last week against the Cowboys, has been playing some pretty good football and even getting comparisons to Aaron Rodgers. And I think so too, man. A lot of his mechanics, a lot of his mannerisms, he looks like a young Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know he's not Aaron Rodgers, but the dude has been playing good football right now. But this is the 49ers are another well-oiled machine. Brock Purdy is one of the best game managers probably in the league right now. He's not too flashy, but he gets the job done. How do you feel about this game, Will?
This is my favorite bet of the season.
Okay.
I'm all in on the Niners here. The second these line came out, I was like, I swear, if this line opens up where the Niners are less than a 10-point favorite, I'm betting the house on it. And that's where I'm at. Listen, Packers, that was a great win. You're the first ever 7 seed to beat a 2 seed since we switched to this new playoff format. That's great. Here's the deal. I think everyone, like you just said earlier, we can't look back at last week. All right, we can't look back at last week or even the last 2 weeks. You would say, "Oh, look at the Packers! They demolished the Brown or the Bears. Yeah, they own the Bears. Oh, look at the Packers! They just blew out the Cowboys, and that Cowboys has a really good defense. Yeah, it does. And you jumped right on top of them. But I mean, you're the one that came in on my show and said, "Playoff Dak. Don't trust playoff Dak.
Playoff and Cowboys. You can't trust them."
I don't think we should be shocked at that. And unlike the Cowboys, who have a good defense, but their front seven is really small. Guess who's not small? The San Francisco defense. And I was talking about rust with the Baltimore game, with these teams that get buys, right? 49ers coming off a bye, actually about 2 weeks rest. Here's the thing. It's the 49ers system, the Shanahan offense, it's rinse and repeat. It's muscle memory at this point. So I don't worry about them being rusty because it's just, we're just to get right back into gear here. And I have not seen anything from this Niners team to make me think that they're not going to just blow the doors off them. And the Packers have been in a must-win mode for 6, 7, 8 weeks now, because they had to win out to even get into the playoffs. I mean, they were a 7th seed for a reason.
Yep.
And they did that. And congrats. And you went down and you punched Dallas in the mouth and you beat them. Congratulations. That's like your Super Bowl. So if you lose this game tomorrow, you know what? That was a good season. But here's the thing. Everyone's expecting the Packers to jump on the 49ers early, just like they did the Cowboys last week. Well, what happens if that flips? What if the Niners come out and score a touchdown or 2 and they're up 14-0? I think that starts sinking in, and the Packers just kind of fold and lay up right there. I think that's where it starts hitting them like, oh, okay, yeah, we're actually not a Super Bowl contending team. So I think the Niners, Man, I think they're a favorite to go to the Super Bowl for a reason out of the NFC. I think the Niners roll in this game, and I don't see the Packers putting up much points.
Yeah, I agree with you. The 49ers offense, man, Shanahan, Brock Purdy has so many weapons to play with. I mean, Debo, Kittle, and McCaffrey, and then just how Brock Purdy he's just able to just manage all of those guys and spread the ball around. And then, like you just said, man, that 49ers defense, I would not be surprised, because we were talking this morning with the Packers on if they were to win the coin toss. Recently, they've been taking the ball in the first half. So like last week in Dallas, when the Packers took the ball and they marched down the field and they scored a touchdown, they kind of made a statement to the Cowboys. Well, what if that doesn't work against San Francisco? What if they go 3-and-out? Or Jordan Love, get some pressure early on. Nick Bosa sacks him. And, I could totally see Jordan Love maybe playing with a full diaper all game because he's just scared shitless from this 49ers defense.
I would be if I was staring Fred Warner down. I would be when you got to look across the line and there's Fred Warner. Screw Nick Bosa. You're looking at Fred Warner. That guy's a freak.
Absolutely. So I'm right there with you, man. I think this is the 49ers game to lose, and I think that this can get ugly for Green Bay. If they struggle in the first half, I can see this game, it could be over at halftime. But we'll see. But I do like the 49ers tomorrow.
There is something real quick to wrap up this game. There is something about, like, you see it mainly in divisional games and stuff like that. But there is something in the NFL about certain teams have another team's number. Whether it's scheme, no matter what it is, or one coach dominates another coach. I mean, look at we have a bunch of Packers fans on the show, right? And they're like, we always own the Cowboys. And what did they do? They went down and they owned the Cowboys. Well, guess what? Like you were saying earlier, 49ers have always owned the Packers, even when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback and the 1 seed, and they were playing in Lambeau. They just always win those games. So I don't know what it is. The Niners win, and I don't see any reason why the Niners should even be worried in this game.
Yep. And for this game, I mean, one thing that, Aaron Rodgers isn't with the Packers anymore. We don't have to listen to the narrative that, the 49ers passed on Aaron Rodgers. Is this going to be a revenge game for Aaron Rodgers? That whole narrative is out the window at this point. Buccaneers at Lions. Did you guys know that the Lions play indoors?
Wait, what?
What? Did you know that? I had no idea. I had no idea that the Lions play indoors in Detroit. That's crazy.
Does it get that cold there or something? I don't know.
I guess it must. I don't know. I wonder if the Bucs, might have been mistaken if they were going to prepare for a weather game. No, but in all seriousness, Lions a 6-point favorite. The Buccaneers coming off of a huge blowout victory against the Philadelphia Eagles. And but the Lions, man, have been looking really good, coached up real well. Dan Campbell, I'm a big fan of Dan Campbell and his way of coaching. He's just a football guy, man. He's punch you in the mouth. I'll go for it back in my own territory on a 4th down and long and try to fucking stop us. We'll do a fake punt. I don't fucking care. Dan Campbell is just that kind of guy. But Baker's been looking real good. Buccaneers have a lot of weapons on offense. What do you feel about this game, man?
I've been going back and forth on this one. At first, I was leaning towards the Lions. The Lions are they have the better offensive line. They have arguably the best offensive line in the NFL. If they were smarter, they obviously they put up numbers through the air. They've got a lot of weapons. Goff is actually a really good quarterback. As much shit as that guy takes, for his lackluster Super Bowl and whatnot, and getting traded to Detroit, he actually is a really good quarterback, and they've got weapons.
He's almost like a different guy. Goff is like a different guy in Detroit. He is really developed since being traded from
it's kind of
LA.
like he kind of took it and said, okay, well, I'm going to prove you guys wrong. Because remember, the Rams didn't just trade him. They sent him with a first-round pick and like a second-round. But they said, here you go. We want to get rid of this dude. Now, it worked out for the Rams. They won a Super Bowl, so congrats to them.
Yeah.
But it's one of those rare trades where it was like a win-win for everyone. But I was looking at the Lions. I'm like, the Lions on paper should win this game. The Lions on paper should be a 6-point favorite. But, man, I don't like the feeling that I'm getting from the Lions. I don't like the CJ Gardner-Johnson trash talk to Baker. I don't like who do the Lions think they are? You just won your first playoff game, and I don't know. You played in your first playoff game in 30 years. I don't even know if they won one 30 years ago. I mean, I was barely born at the time that they played. So I don't trust the Lions here. And if there's ever a time I want to bet on Baker, it's when he's a dog and when everyone's counting him out. Like I said this weeks ago, when everyone was riding high on Baker and they're talking about contracts, extensions, and stuff like that right before they played the Saints at the end of the season, I was like, wow, that's when we're talking contracts extensions for Baker, that's when I don't want to bet on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we're talking about he's down and out and he no one gives him a chance, well, that's the time I want to back Baker. And if you're gonna give me 6 points, I'll take Baker. I actually think the Bucs have a really good chance of winning this game. I really do. If you look at last week, the Bucs, they offensively, they left a lot of points on the board. Mike Evans dropping passes. We don't ever see that.
Yeah.
And you might think, well, doesn't mean that he's going to do that again this week or they're going to have opportunities this week. This Lions secondary is terrible. It is terrible. They gave up Nick Mullins threw 411 yards on this team. Like they give up yards on everyone. So I'm not worried. The Bucs put up about 5.2 yards per play. Pretty good for an offensive team. I actually think this is going to be a fireworks show, and we're going to see a lot of scoring in this one. I give the Bucs a shot, especially if it's close down the stretch. I think Mike Evans is going to have himself a good game. I'm going to go with the underdog here. I think the Buccaneers win outright because I think the Lions, that was their Super Bowl, getting a playoff win. And now they're talking about all these different stars and whether Eminem's going to perform during the game or whatnot. Like they're getting a little ahead of themselves, right? They're getting a little ahead of themselves. I think they're kind of, I know it's hard to overlook in the playoffs. I think they're kind of looking towards, the Niners. And I think the Buccaneers, they're not going to go down without a fight.
You think the Lions could be looking ahead?
I think they could. I mean, wouldn't you? You were expected to play the Eagles this week, right? Like
right.
The odds are they were expected to play the Eagles, so they were preparing. And then they're like, okay, we got the Buccaneers. And Baker's not as hurt as one of the reasons why I was nervous about the Bucs last week is I thought Baker was more injured than he actually is. I mean, obviously he's banged up out there, but he did just fine last week. He looked good.
Yeah,
I don't expect that to be any different this week.
I agree with you with this game being a fireworks show. I mean, we do have Chief Bills on the menu this weekend, but I'm kind of more looking forward to this Bucs-Lions game. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and both teams, maybe technically shouldn't be here. The Lions have been good the past 2 seasons, but they have damn near no playoff experience, where this Buccaneers team, they've been to the playoffs the past 3 years with Brady. And Baker led him right back. And like you said, you don't want to bet on Baker when he's got a chip on his shoulder and he feels like he has something to prove. And Baker,
that defense, that Buccaneers defense, I didn't even get to that. They've been playing, so they started getting some key pieces back. And even when Brady was there, they were struggling when that defense wasn't healthy. When the defense was healthy, I mean, look, they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A lot of it was because of that defense. And you can't tell me it wasn't because of that defense. I mean, Brady's great, but that defense held Patrick Mahomes to no touchdowns in a Super Bowl. That's how good that defense was. So when that defense is on, and they seem to be on, they stopped the tush push last week.
Yes,
right.
Yep.
I mean, you're a pretty good defense if no one could stop that all year long, and you came in a playoff game at the biggest moment and you stopped it. All right. So I give this Buccaneers defense a lot of credit here, and I think they're gonna punch the Lions in the mouth. We'll see if the Lions can respond.
What was the total on this game again?
It's been creeping up. It's this morning when we were talking about it was at 49. It opened up about 48, and it's just been going up and up and up.
And I believe me and you both picked the over, for the points to go over. I do like the Buccaneers. I like the Buccaneers to cover.
Mm-hmm.
And like this Texans-Ravens game that we have tomorrow, I think this game could come down to, again, a 2-minute drill from either the Lions or the Bucs to go down and try to march down the field and win the game and score a touchdown to win the game with, damn near no time left on the clock. That's the kind of game that I feel like this game's going to be. High scoring. Baker's going to be slinging it. Goff is going to be slinging it. It's going to be a fun game.
I'm going to be nervous if it's the Bucs that have the lead and the Lions are in the 2-minute drill, because we've seen in the past, all you got to do when Todd Bowles has a lead, he'll just do an all-out blitz, and you can just let a guy go right up the seam. I mean, that was that Cooper Kupp play when Brady had that amazing comeback to put him back there, and then Todd Bowles decides to draw up. Instead of go to overtime, we're going to go all-out blitz and leave Cooper Kupp wide open down the middle. Like, that was stupid. But We'll see. Maybe he's learned from that. I don't know. But either way, I think this is going to be a great appetizer leading into the Sunday night game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the Sunday night game, Chiefs at Bills, another very cold weather game. The forecast, just like Baltimore, is going to be 21 degrees at the time of kickoff, 14-mile-per-hour winds. How do you feel about this game, Will? How do we feel about the Chiefs right now?
Well, we got the Chiefs who haven't played great all season, right?
No.
I mean, they got by. They did what they had to do. I just don't think you can count out Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. As bad as the weapons are around him, I don't think you can count them out in the playoffs because they have shown that they time and time again they're going to get it done. You're giving me the Chiefs as an underdog. I'm going to take the Chiefs this is one of those ones. It's like when you get Alabama as an underdog in college football, you say, okay, I don't care who they're playing. I'm betting Alabama as an underdog because you never get that. It's the same thing here. This is Patrick Mahomes' first playoff road game. So that's going to be
insane. That's insane.
Yes, but I think the biggest thing about this game is the Chiefs defense. A lot of people would point to the Bills beating them a few weeks back, right, in Arrowhead. That was impressive. But this Bills team, just like you were talking about the Packers, the Bills team, they've been on a must-win every game, do or die down the stretch. I mean, it was a miracle that they had a chance to either win their division or be out of the playoffs. Like, that's how close it was for them that week 18 for them to get into the playoffs. Now, obviously, they beat Miami and won the division, which is nice. But at some point, that wears on you. And the biggest thing why I like the Chiefs in this game is Josh Allen and the psychology of this game. He has shown time and time again that he's going to make mistakes. If he can't beat this Chiefs team here, he's never going to beat the Chiefs team. This is the worst the Chiefs have ever looked under Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And he gets to be home. Like, this is it. And I think the pressure of that is going to get to him. We've seen him when he's rolling out and running out of bounds and he throws it across his body. Last week, it worked out for him.
Yeah.
But we saw a couple weeks before that when he was playing Miami, he threw it, hucked it up into the end zone and it got picked off. Obviously, they still won that game, but like, you can't make those kind of mistakes and give the Chiefs an edge there. So I think the Bills, yeah, they beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but that's what they do. They beat them in the regular season. They don't beat them in the playoffs. I can't go against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes here. And I know we joke about the NFL wants Taylor Swift to move on and wants the Chiefs to move on, but I think there is a little bit of truth to that joke. And if you're going to pick a team and you know that the flags might favor one side than the other, you might as well pick the team that the flags are going to favor. So I think if there's any questionable calls, it's going to benefit the Chiefs because of the NFL ratings. But,
oh, absolutely. And
crap away.
Patrick Mahomes is, he gets every single call that he wants. He's the new kind of Brady for these referees. If Brady were to cry,
Brady deserved all those calls.
Okay. And correct. Brady, Brady, paid his dues.
He
earned his stripes, whatever.
There's a happy anniversary of the Tuck rule.
I saw that. He said, he's like, how's it been 23 years? And, I'm only 26 years old. Fucking Brady. But man, the Chiefs Bills, these two teams are no stranger to finding each other in the playoffs. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, a lot of history in the postseason, this time in Buffalo. And I think you're right. If Josh Allen plays a perfect game, I think the Bills could win this one. But Josh Allen is, it's typical for him to make some dumb decisions sometimes. He didn't make very many dumb decisions last week, or at least ones that he might have, squeaked away with. If he plays a perfect game, I do like the Bills here because this is not the same Chiefs team that we have seen over the past couple of seasons. The Chiefs team that is constantly in AFC championships and going to the Super Bowl. This Chiefs team is struggling. And is it because of Taylor Swift? Is it this Taylor Swift curse? Is it the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift curse? Could be, but they're dropping a lot of balls. It ain't just Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes underperforming. The Chiefs wide receivers just can't seem to catch anything thrown their way. But like you said, if the NFL has any kind of script to want Taylor Swift to be, there at the Super Bowl so they can pan out whenever Travis Kelce makes a catch, they can pan up to the box, show Taylor Swift, get all the Swifties in there watching the Super Bowl, a whole new crowd of people to watch the Super Bowl because Taylor Swift is there. It could be a possibility. I'm not saying the NFL's rigged, but they do have their favorites of who they would like to be in the Super Bowl, and I think that's 100% the Chiefs. But I do think that this Bills team might not be more talented than the Chiefs, but I think as of recently, they've been playing better football. There was a time in the middle of the regular season where this Bills team just flipped a switch. They started off
when they
slow.
were 6-6, they had to win out. Yeah.
Yep, they had to win out. They flipped a switch, and they had been playing very good football. I do like the Bills at home. There's just something about the Chiefs right now that just feels off. And I know Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce on offense, you can't count them out. The Chiefs defense, like you were saying, they got some big guys over there. But
Chris Jones,
man,
he ain't running on Chris Jones. No way.
No. But man, I think if Josh Allen plays a damn near perfect game, I think this is the Bills' game to lose, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean they're the home team. They're the favorite. They should win this game. Like I said, if Josh Allen can't beat this Chiefs team, he's never going to beat them while Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are there. I just think there's something to it. Also, you're giving a coach like Andy Reid fuel to fire up his players for the first time. He could go in there and say, "Hey, listen, everyone's counting us out because we've never played a road playoff game." You know what I mean? Like you give one of these great coaches just anything. You give them an inch and they'll take a mile. They'll run with it and get their team
use that as motivation.
Yeah, and the biggest factor I didn't even say in this is the Chiefs have a 2-day rest advantage. They played last Saturday. And remember, Buffalo was supposed to play Sunday, got moved to Monday. That whole, you already add that they're already taxed and tired from they've had to win all these games in a row. They had to go down to Miami at the end of the season and win a must-win game to win the division and get into the playoffs. They had to play last week on which they were preparing to play Sunday, and they found out last minute they're playing Monday. That throws everything off. They haven't been able to practice this week, like their normal practice. They've had to go into some indoor facilities that they don't normally use. So I just think that you're throwing everything off. And meanwhile, you're giving the Chiefs 2 extra days rest. Both teams played in terrible weather last week, so that kind of negates itself. I just think there's something about I'd rather take the team, the players that have been there and that have shown me that they've won before than the team. Rather than the team that shows me they choke every time in this scenario.
Yeah, it's true. And both teams, the Chiefs and the Bills, played in severe cold weather last week, and they're going to be playing in cold weather again on Sunday. I think this could be a sluggish game. Because, like we said this morning,
great defenses.
Like these guys are super freak athletes, but they're still human. They still have human bodies, and their immune system could be shot. And they're probably only now just recovering to get back into game shape, and they're going to step out on the field in 20-degree weather and play in a super cold game. So this could be a sluggish game, and I don't mean sluggish as in ugly, like penalties and stuff, but potentially lower scoring than you would maybe anticipate for these two teams.
Yeah, and last time they played, it wasn't all that high scoring either. A couple weeks back earlier in the season, it was 21-17,
Right.
Yeah, so it's wasn't all that high scoring. I think we're going to see that. The total is at 43.5. I think it goes under. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be a defensive game.
I agree with you.
And
I think it goes under as well.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Bills win. If I had to choose, you're going to make me choose. I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Right.
On this one.
All right, well, there you guys have it. A little preview of NFL Divisional Round Playoff Weekend. Just our 2 cents on the 4 games this weekend. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Share with a friend who you think would enjoy it. Subscribe to this channel if you're new. And we'll talk to you guys soon.